Hey, hello there, friends. Laurel Boylan here with the Legacy Leaders Live show. We do this every Wednesday, and it's a show where we talk about stories of impact, of purpose, of prosperity. It's meant to be a show of not only highlighting and sharing other people's stories, but one of inspiration. Because, what if you think there's something different for you or something more for you out there? This is a show to help you realize you're probably right and to give you some of those tools and steps to actually take the plunge to start working towards that. So today's guest, I'm very excited about. I met him here on LinkedIn a while ago, a year or two ago, and in the LinkedIn community. And he lives in Canada. I'm in California. You got to love technology. We have been a big supporter of each other's businesses across the time. And he has made some firm, purposeful decisions to change how he's living so that he can live his legacy now and not just work really, really hard in corporate to leave that legacy behind. And his why is really powerful because of the nature of his business. I'm going to let him tell you more about that. So straight from Canada, I'm going to introduce you to Bruce MacPherson. Hi, Bruce.
Hey, Laurel, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for joining us today.
My pleasure. It was nice of you to invite me. I appreciate that.
Well, actually, yes. And you bailed me out because he wasn't on the schedule yet for today. And I had somebody cancel at the last minute. So I'm doubly appreciative of you, not only to be here, but to be here on very short notice. So thank you for that.
Yeah, I love a chance to chat.
Yeah. And it was fun to get caught up yesterday as well. So I love connecting. I love collaboration. But first, let's just start with, this show's all about living a legacy. It's a mindset. It's a choice. It's how you intentionally move forward in life. So what does living a legacy mean to you? And or what does it look like in your life right now?
So can I give a bit of history?
You absolutely can. There's no rules
Back
here.
in my 30s, I had colitis. And when I was diagnosed, basically they told me I was going to be on medication for the rest of my life. And I'm kind of stubborn and I'm thinking, no, that doesn't work for me. So I went on a very long dive down the rabbit hole on health and nutrition, healed myself, and was, really happy with what I was able to do just from self-learning. And I was a financial advisor for 20 years, and my passion about health would always come out in front of my clients. They might mention, oh, I'm having this problem or whatever, and I'd suggest some things to try. And the constant feedback was, you should be doing this like as some sort of career, vocation, whatever. But the right thing never really came into my lap. And it's funny how, I guess, the universe sets us up the way it's supposed to be set up, because I was a financial advisor for 20 years. Just got tired of it. Too much regulation, not enough face time with my clients. So I decided to retire, sold my book of business. And a couple of years in, a friend of ours introduced us to a technology. And it was almost like this aha moment came to me and said, this is what I was looking for 10 years ago. And here it's now showing up when I'm retired. And it was kind of a whole interesting story there, because again, she came to me for feedback, and she had really bad eczema on her face. And she came across this woman at a mutual health club that my wife and her go to. And this woman kept saying, try this, try this, try this. And eventually she did. And it cleared up her face. And we all kind of said, what did you do? And she said, well, this woman wants me to come and look at this. I don't know anything about it. Will you come? Because I know you have background and knowledge in this area. So I did. And then that led to where I am today. But in terms of legacy, I guess like we can do or create legacy in a whole bunch of different ways. We can create financial legacy for our family, create a bunch of abundance, leave that for our children. But I think there's other ways. There's like small ways where we leave legacy in terms of people remembering us. Maybe your neighbor's sick and you go and shovel their driveway, or you bring them some food, and that sticks with a person. I think you could build something like inventions. The iPhone is an example where it leaves a legacy for generations. And that's kind of where what I got involved with. It's a Japanese medical device. The founder wanted to leave a health legacy, something that could basically, after he had passed on for generations, leave something that it would improve people's lives, both financially and from a health perspective, which really got my attention because it's like I came from a finance background, and it's like, oh, we can actually take people that may be struggling financially, help them that way to create a legacy for their family. But also, more to my heart is like, now I help people where the traditional health system hasn't worked for them. So they're looking and going, this isn't working. I'm taking this handful of medication and it's masking my symptoms, but it's not making me healthier and I don't feel better. And create legacy there where it's like you can totally transform their life and they can get their health and vitality back. And I've done that a few times with people where they've had serious illnesses. And there's something to be said about not always focusing on money legacy, but when you change a person's life and give them their health back, it's a whole different, feeling. Like you feel like you're doing something meaningful. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Absolutely. One of my big shifts in living a legacy is mindset. And the mindset that I want to leave behind it's a generational shift in mindset in so many ways. Health, how we eat, nutrition, financial mindset. I'm stopping what's happened in my family for generations, shifting it. And that's a big part of living the legacy now, so that when I'm gone, generations in the future hopefully will remember some of what we're setting up now versus how my family did it.
And I guess there's kind of also, there's a personal side to this because I lost my mom to cancer. My wife lost her mom to cancer when she was 16. And then when her sister was 59, she lost her sister. So besides healing myself of colitis, I really want to make an impact, and anyone that has that disease and wants to go down a natural path, that's where I want to leave a legacy of having a whole bunch of people when I'm long gone that their life was extended or improved from something that, they might have been given a death sentence. And it was just another option presented to them, and it changed their life. It gave them a year or 10 years or whatever with their family that they weren't expecting to have. So that's really kind of the legacy I want to leave behind.
Now, Bruce, I'm listening to this as if I were a viewer on LinkedIn and didn't already know you and more about what you do. You talked about solving eczema on skin. So someone's probably thinking, oh, he's with a skincare company. Then you talked about colitis, and now you're talking cancer. Why don't you share the full story about what it is that you have found that is so, the science behind it is just driving the results?
Okay. So going back to my wife's friend, it's water, but it's water that's very unique. Scientists and researchers studied water in the blue zones, especially like Lourdes, France, Costa Rica, and they noticed it had 3 specific properties. So it had this negative charge to it, it had hydrogen in it, and it was naturally alkaline. And think of it like a stool. You need all 3 of those for water to have healing properties. We can buy alkaline water, but we're missing 2 legs of the stool. So going back to the friend, this woman kept saying, try this, So she did. And then she said, well, now she wants me to go and look at this device. So it's a Japanese medical device that replicates these three products we find in nature. And I have a degree in chemistry. I studied water when I had colitis. So it's funny how knowledge you learned 20 years ago all of a sudden comes back and becomes useful. She's like, I don't know anything about chemistry. I don't know anything about water. Can you come and tell me if this is like a smoke and mirrors or if this is real? So when I saw the presentation, I'm thinking, I want to get one of these. It's like, I knew I'd been looking for this. I just didn't know what I was looking. It was like kind of the missing link in terms of water. I had the food side down. So she bought a machine that night. I did some more research online, found that there's tons of scientific papers published on molecular hydrogen. The scientific name is electrically reduced water, alkaline water. And then I thought, okay, I'm a health fanatic, and it's like food is one key, exercise. I want this water portion as best as it can be too. So I didn't dive into the business side of it right away. I used the product basically for about 18 months myself, and just noticed over time all these different things shifting in my body. And it's not that it cures anything. What it does is it brings our body back to a state of balance. And when you get back into balance, then your body can fix and heal itself. And for me, what did I know? First, basically, I had done hot yoga. I've never been overweight. And in a 38°C room, you'd think you'd sweat out and lose any toxicity in your body. I did that for 2 years. And within 3 weeks of drinking this water, I dropped 10 pounds. And I'm like, where did that 10 pounds come off my body? But that's just like the accumulated sludge that builds up inside of us, almost like a sewage pipe. Over 10, 20, 30 years, it gets smaller and smaller and smaller because stuff just sticks in there. I don't think our body's a whole lot different, but when you put structured water in, it's incredibly efficient at cleaning that system out, especially the digestive system. So first thing was 10 pounds in 3 weeks. Prior to my 20 years in the financial business, I worked in construction. I had a pattern concrete business. I had a lot of arthritis in my fingers from basically all the impact using the tools, sledgehammers, stuff like that. And when I practiced karate for 6 years, yoga for a couple of years, and I noticed my joints would get really stiff when I was doing those things. And I would say 3 months in, all that joint stiffness was gone. This is 5 years ago. It's never come back. So my hands feel like they did when they were in my 20s. And then I would say the biggest thing with colitis, I found a supplement out of the US, and I had to take that. And it wasn't a drug, but it somehow healed the lining of my digestive tract. But when I stopped, it was like a drug in the sense that I would start to get symptoms again.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, well, it's healing, but it's not creating permanent healing. So I think it was the second year of COVID, they raised the price. It's very expensive. In Canadian dollars, a 100-gram jar is $200 when you convert from the American currency. Anyway, it went up to $250 a jar. So I had been doing this for 17 years. And the top gastroenterologist in the world says this will heal your gut if you drink it and basically eat well. So by then it was probably 3 years in, I'm thinking, well, let's give it a try. I'll stop taking the powder and see if my symptoms come back. And basically I've been good since then. So you always think in hindsight, it's like, man, if I had found this machine 15 years ago, I added it up and I think I spent close to $34,000 on the supplement over those 17 years.
Could have bought a couple machines, right?
Could have bought one machine and saved myself almost $29,000.
A ton of money. Yeah. Yeah.
So that was the biggest thing personally for me that happened. But having now shared it and other people have bought machines, I've seen the full spectrum, because really all you're doing is returning the body to balance. And when you do that, miraculous stuff can occur. I took a course once and he said, like, miracles can occur. Miracles are like always there. It's just we have to expect that they can happen and create the circumstances that they can happen.
Allow it to happen.
Yeah.
Right. Wow. That is quite a story. I want to take you back for a minute and let's just talk about this, because there's people watching that might feel like they're made for more, but it's a little bit unclear exactly what that means. So sometimes we just kind of suppress that thought, but we know it's there. And for you, you had gotten educated about the gut and colitis 10 years before you were introduced to what is now your solution. 20. And or 20 years, yes. So you had the information, and then what I'm trying to say here is the universe knew what you were doing to prepare, and you were a good enough friend that you said yes to another friend who asked you to come with her to the event. Again, you were open-minded, you'd been educating yourself along the way, and then when your solution happened, it was dumped in your lap and you knew immediately. Yeah. And your story is not unique. It might not be water. It might be a totally different industry or business. But I just want people to know that when you stay in motion, when you're doing some of the right things, and when you're just being aware and open, things come into your path that will totally help you know what it is you're supposed to be doing. And until it happens to you, that sounds like
very fairy.
Yes, it sounds like, oh, woo-woo talk, but it's like, no, it happens. It happened to me. It happened to you. Like you were saying, that vehicle was water and you didn't realize it. For me, the vehicle was a different business model that I'd never thought of before, you know? And so you just never know what that's going to be, but you're never going to learn it if you have a closed mind. And if you're not at least out there bettering yourself in some way, because you wouldn't have understand the impact that this water could have had you not learned the science 20 years before. It might have gone right over your head.
And try it, like just trying it. Yeah. Being open. Yeah. I find, I don't know what it is, but people, it's almost like a human instinct. You want to try this? And the first answer is no. It's like, it doesn't even register. And I think and I'm not saying this to toot my own horn, but in terms of health, I've always had a try it and see what happens mentality. Not no, because I've seen so many things, what's this going to do? It's like, I've always tried it. And the background with science is, you know, we'd have labs, you do something, you observe. And for me, it's like, put it in my body. I'm the placebo, and take it away and see what happens. And the stuff where I take it away and it's no different, then it's like, okay, I move on. But at least being curious enough to say, let me try it, see what it does, give it enough time. And that's another thing I've learned. It's like, the longer you've had something chronic, the year is rule of thumb for any supplement or anything you're doing new is at least 1 month for every year you've had the condition. So
I did not.
Someone with, I don't know, pick whatever disease, and it's been going on for 10 years, it could take you 10 months. Like with me, it was 18 months. Oh, I forgot to mention one thing. I had eczema for 25 years, very small area. And it always puzzled me because I ate so well. And I'm like, why can I not get rid of this? And I know skin is always related to some sort of toxicity in your body. It's like a warning sign. It's like the lights on your dash in your car. It took 18 months of drinking the water, and then the eczema cleared up. So it's because it was so chronic and so long, who knows? There was some toxicity buried deep inside my body, and it took that long for the water to flush it out. And this is all just theory. But 18 months later, my skin is good again. I've had no issues since. So being open-minded and trying something long enough with the intention of at least trying to get a result, I think is really important in life. And that goes for business. It's like people dive into a business and in 2 months they haven't made what they were making at their work and they quit. And it's like, you talk to anyone that's started their own business and they're like, you got to persist. It can be 3 to 5 years. You got to put in the time. And a lot of times, like I noticed this in financial advising, advisors would come and go like a revolving door, but it's the work you put in the first 2 years that gives you the results in years 3, 4, and 5. And they don't stick around long enough to see the results.
Interesting. So Bruce, as we wrap up here, what would you say to the person who's watching this right now and they're inspired by your story? What would you tell them? Where should they start?
You can reach out to me. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm not hard to find, but ask a lot of questions and give it a try. It's like, you got nothing to lose. One thing about what's really cool about this water device, medical device, and it's the only medical device, there's other knockoffs, is you can try it. So I have someone that I met on LinkedIn who lives in Portland, Oregon, and she's like, I want to try it before I invest all this money in a machine. And we have a global map. There's 2 million distributors, and I can go on that map. And if there's someone local, not all 2 million have said, yes, I'm willing to share water. I found someone and she was able to try the water before to see what it does and if she likes it. So if it's not costing you anything to try, and most companies will let you try for free, or if you're not happy, send back what's left, you got nothing to lose. And if you have a chronic condition, I would say, give this a try, because it's one of the few things that across the board is going to help someone who's struggling and has not found a solution so far.
Interesting. Well, when we're done here, I would love for you to drop all your contact information, maybe even if you have a website or whatever, in the comments right below this feed, so that as people watch it in the recording, that they can definitely easily find you and reach out to the right person. Is there anything else?
I can give it right now. It's www.thebestwater.ca. And if you want to watch a demonstration, it's demo.thebestwater.ca.
Awesome. Very nice. What would you like to say as we wrap up here to our viewers? Any last parting words?
Just so glad that you had me on, Laurel. Anyone that's watching, thanks for watching. And it was a pleasure chatting with you.
Well, thank you. I think that we're both in this about helping people, right? And if you can help people heal from the inside out, we need to do that. And the problem is everyone doesn't have a scientific mind, nor have they spent the time researching things like you have. And so I think you're a great resource. And I know from personal experience, you're not pushy. You can ask questions without feeling like someone's trying to sell you something. You're just a great resource. So I do encourage people to take advantage of that. Reach out, ask questions, talk to Bruce about trying the water, and you never know where that's going to go. It could be
you talk about legacy. That's my purpose, is like, you don't necessarily have to come to me for water. If you've got something going on, I've read for 25 years, I can point you in the right direction. Say, go to this resource or check this out or do this. That's what I'm here for.
Absolutely. Well, Bruce, thank you so very much. And we do this every Wednesday. So check back next Wednesday at 11 o'clock California time 2 o'clock Eastern time, we'll be back with yet another guest on the Legacy Leaders Live show. So everybody have a great week, and thank you again.